action. And here they are, as mentioned. I mean, as they go through the decks, I mean, I can feel the tension throughout the screen. It gets real at this point. You sit on the table, you look at the playmat, you look at your deck. You're just moments away from drawing your first hand at the World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it all begins. The tournament is about to get underway. You see the players taking their decks out and going to be started to shuffle up and get ready for our first duel.
Yeah, you got to knock the table a few times for luck. Hope you know that hand you're not going to have to pass turn one here. And as we mentioned earlier, we can see the useful little cards here to let us know what's going on. So, I mean, I hope for everyone at home, it's reasonably obvious that the players aren't playing at the moment, and we can see that pause button in the middle of the table there just to indicate that the game is not going on. But if the players are playing, it will be turned over to the green play button, and we will be able to see them playing. We'll also see this if, for example, there is a judge call or something like that in the middle of the game, just to let us know and let everyone else at home know that the game is paused and they're not currently doing anything.
Yeah, it's an amazing, blue against red, even in terms of sleeves for this round, match. And as mentioned already, it's going to be this MALISS against Yumi deck, and the die roll might definitely be impactful. We'll see whether they relied on, and especially for Yami, I think it's quite relevant. We have seen players go all the way and focusing on field breaking spells, or rather take the approach that took YCS Vancouver by storm with a lot of different entraps and interaction from the end. So we'll see whether that will be the case for Ruben.
I'm loving how color coordinated they are. We've got the blue sleeves on the blue slide and the red sleeve on the red side. I'm probably gonna miss it. There's gonna be a card face down. It's gonna be a mirror force. It's gonna be blended in. You're not gonna see it, and then here we go.
I also love these tokens. The World Championship tokens just look absolutely beautiful this year.
Gonna have to see if we can sneak a few copies after the tournament ends, if there are any lying on the table,
Definitely. And you see the players shuffling. This is the Pharaoh shuffle. This is the recommended shuffle for the tournament. Keeping the cards face down and parallel to the table.
Yeah. Gotta do that. Make sure the deck is completely randomized. It's no more important time for it than now. And we can also see what we were talking about before, whether the deck is ready to draw from or ready not to draw from. So that's the green arrow below the concede flag. Players at the World Championships have to be careful before, if they want to concede a game, they've got to just check everything is okay and use one of those flags just to indicate that that is their intent to concede a game. Really just want to make sure there's never any miscommunications. Obviously, we have a lot of players from a lot of different places speaking a lot of different language, so you can't be as casual about it. You don't want to be in a discussion about, who conceded the game after it ended or something like that.
Seems like here we are, so let's see this die roll. Ruben with a 6. Great way to start things off against a 5, so barely making it, and I can assume Ruben will be the one going first with this Yami deck.
World Championship skills on display there, rolling that 6. Would expect nothing less.
He is the world champion for a reason.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see. Let's see whether that obedience code will be on the line.
Here we go. Will we see that turn 1? It's the classic. Whenever you have Perulia in hand against Yami, they always have obedience code. That's just the rules of the game. So let's see if that will be the case.
Yeah, you touched on Obedience School. It's a key card. Not only is it a powerful card, but it's a way to it's usually used as bait almost to see if they have something like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to check it. But because once you use it, the drawback is that you aren't going to be able to access a powerful card like Herald of Arclight. But still, definitely worth using in the Yummy strategy. And the first card we're going to see activated at the World Championship in 2025 is Sky Striker Mobilize Engage.
Yep. Obviously, alternate artwork for anyone wondering. And yeah, we have seen this plenty of times before. Given that the synchros are generic, you can just take advantage of these Hornet drones and just make it the best of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when you imagine somebody saying to you a few years down the line, you're just like, yeah, Sky Striker you know, engage as full Yummy combo. They'd be like, what? How are you getting from these Sky Strikers into this other deck? But yeah, a Link 1 and a level 1 token turns out is full combo for the Yummy deck.
But instead, we are gonna see a clutch play from RUBEN. He's not gonna use the Sky Strikers, because if you keep this token around, the token actually says that it cannot be tributed. So if you get it by the Nibiru, then the token stays and you can still play through. So very interesting line here from RUBEN, you know, just playing around that powerful interaction and just relying on his cookie to perform the combo. And we have not seen any interaction from YUNA up until this point, and ooh, here comes an interesting card. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice here from RUBEN, going for the Star Ham over the Metal Marcher, which I think is the more typical play. But I guess he's got that Fu Velocity he doesn't have much of a use for. And as you said, Marcello, here comes Herald. Herald is a super powerful card against a lot of decks, like, for example, Draco Tail. They really want to send monsters from their hand to the grave, but I think Malice, the cards are getting banished. I think they're okay.
And we see the Cupsy Yummy Way is going to let RUBEN add some more Yummy cards from the deck to the hand. Now that he has the Herald of Arclight up for some protection for the rest of his plays, he's going to add Cupsy and Lollipo, the other two Yummy monsters that we haven't got to see just quite yet.
Yeah, no.
I want to talk about the speed of play here. I think that's something we're going to be able to notice throughout the World Championship, is players are going to be playing quickly because they want to avoid reaching that 50-minute limit.
Yeah, very clean play from RUBEN here. We're seeing like slightly, you know, unusual sequencing. I think when you first pick up the deck, you're like, okay, first I do this, then I make the Yummy Way search 2, and then this.
Yeah.
But RUBEN knowing, okay, now he has the cards he needs, so he can make the Herald first and then do some other plays.
No, he played amazing, and mainly from Nibiru, as mentioned, like keeping the token until he was able to make the Herald, and then he took it out of the field, and now, yeah, he just sequenced it quite correctly, and now he's able to add that surprise.
With the Cupsy?
Such a good card. I love it, honestly. It does everything. It does, you know, it's an extender, but also able to, you know, just return 2 cards to the end.
Yep, and that's a Yummy Snatchy in the extra monster zone, which is going to allow RUBEN to special summon Lollipo Yummy from the hand, and now he is very well set up. This may not look like a lot, but Yummy is one of those decks where it puts out a decent amount of cards on the field, but has a ton of more interactions than you may realize from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. Let's see. Also, here comes the third question, whether YUNA will even try, or maybe just preserve information, because this is a lot to deal with, actually. So
yeah, what I want to see from yeah, well, let's see from YUNA. Oh,
Dark Ruler no more in the main deck.
Wow.
We're already starting things off with an incredible, unexpected way. That is a bold move to include a card like that, but the preparation from YUNA, she knew she would need it, and it's already paying off here huge in the first round.
Yeah, that is a super powerful start for YUNA.
Following up with the Hornet Drones. These are 2 cards you would not expect in a Malice strategy. That's what I'm saying. We are in we're in store for full surprises this weekend.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure here RUBEN is thinking mirror match, right? You see the Hornet Drones, like we have seen some builds playing, you know, Droplet and maybe Dark Ruler, so I'm pretty sure he's thinking he's up against a mirror match right now. And that might affect his play significantly, because you know, all you need to just combo is this token, but if you're playing Malice, that's not quite as powerful.
And now, now all RUBEN's form of interaction that we know is the Yummy Surprise that he has face down.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about the Yummy deck that's so fantastic is they don't use effects in the hand or grave, which makes it super powerful against those K9s, which require your opponent to use effects in the hand or grave. But the downside of not using effects in the hand or grave is once your field gets answered by a card like Dark Ruler no more, you don't have all of these interruptions. There are so many decks nowadays, they kind of have these like layered interruptions. That's what players like to say. You have some in the hand, some face down, some in the grave, some on the field, so you can't get cleanly answered, but you can.
Look at I was looking for his face. Now he sees the backup Aniteckzetto, and he's like, okay, was not expecting that one after the Hornet Drones and Dark Ruler.
Yeah, that was definitely, you know, catching RUBEN a bit off guard, and yeah, we had the Engage next to it.
Yep, so she swaps the Engage for a copy of Wizard Aniteckzetto.
And backup Aniteckzetto, that was a normal summon, I want to say.
Special, probably?
No, it's not a dark. No, it was a normal, yep.
Oh, no, because
Kagari, I think it says you need to control a Cyburst monster, and Kagari is a machine?
Yeah, that's right.
So, are we going to see maybe a Phoenix Oh, SP.
Ooh,
that
no,
makes
it's
more.
just
The
gonna-
modern SP. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My mind was forgetting
yeah.
that one. That one's much better.
So what we're looking, if Yuna has something like Gold Sarcophagus, Malice and Underground, or March Hare, maybe banishing a Malice name from the hand would be a way to get some Malice monsters onto the field.
Yeah,
SP Little Knight not being able to attack directly, not a big deal here because the Dark Ruler no more is going to prevent her from inflicting any damage anyways, but forcing out the Yummy Surprise right now with the SP Little Knight. But this SP Little Knight's also going to disrupt the monsters coming back as well.
But then, yeah, you just need the one monster to come back, right? And then you kind of start the Yummy train again. It looks like nothing, but then it just turns into more, and then you get a Snatchy, and then
but
some
we have
more.
Droplet
Dark-
next. Wow.
Dark Ruler no more, Forbidden Droplet. This is just incredible deck building. I mean, this was one of your questions at the beginning. Is it deck building or play? It's a combination of both, and Yuna's looking pretty good here. And there's the March Hare, another way to extend it. And she has a, what is she going to
Just
banish?
discarded.
Yeah.
Oh, she
White
discarded the
Rabbit.
Mouse Monster. So she did have the March Hare plus the Malice Monster to continue the plays. This is an incredible hand here from Yuna.
Really incredible stuff.
Like every card on Ruben's field has been answered at this point, so just the one card in hand gonna have to get him there. But it's hard to imagine a single card that's gonna stop this, with the exception of Artifact Lancia. But
I mean, Yuna has used every card in her hand as well.
Yeah, it's down to
This is when
the
Yu-Gi-Oh!
wire.
This is when Yu-Gi-Oh's at its best, Marcello.
It's really amazing stuff already, and you can see the difference in the deck building. Yuna choosing all these powerful spells, going second and getting rewarded by it. Pretty much now the only thing she has to pay attention to is the field spell. Boosting everything by 500 for each light beast right now. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, one card in hand from Ruben, and that's impressive stuff.
yeah, everything negated. We're probably going to have a trap be insulated. I'm sure no one will be better than Yuna at pushing through any possible hand interruptions Ruben might have. The Malice deck is very good at that.
Sets MTP 007, or sorry, 07. This is kind of the situation where TB11 wouldn't have been too bad to include in the deck here.
Yeah.
But still, with plenty of link ratings, going to have access to something like Malice and Underground with this Malice Red Ransom coming down.
Oh, and no interaction from Ruben. Oof.
This game one is looking tough for him.
I mean, you open uninterrupted. I think you're just assuming you got this game, and instead, look at Yuna.
Yeah, Yuna having no issue pushing through this field. That's very heads up. She had the perfect non-engine to deal with the Yummy deck, so we'll see how well as well in later rounds if she plays against, other kinds of deck, because that is sometimes the difficulty with playing these non-engine cards. How do you tailor it to play against different decks? She certainly has the perfect ones for the Yummy deck.
And I mean, if she sequenced it correctly, this might even be enough, depending on how much she can do. It's
She needs to just clean up the field.
Yeah.
Won't be able to finish the game this turn, but able to set up enough control.
yeah, of
here.
course, because of Dark Ruler. Yeah.
It will be. It will still put her in prime position in this game, but that's the thing. Like Ruben, even sitting on one card in hand, drawing to another one, has a chance to come back in this game, but it's gonna be tough. It's a huge uphill battle from here.
Malice, it just accrues so much advantage when it's able to play all of its cards uninterrupted, which it looks like Yuna is going to. You get to draw like up to sometimes 3 cards in a turn when you combine the White Binder and the Chessy Cat, so you just end up with so much advantage for next turn. You have a loaded graveyard. You probably end up with a March Hare in hand as well. It's so much stuff after all of this is said and done.
There is a Yummy Snatchy in that extra monster, so I'm just be curious to what that bright card is on the other side.
And yeah, we do see the one Dormouse. This is one of the differences, of course, as it is limited for this event. But I mean, one is all you need.
Yep. Red Ransom banishing a Cyrus from the deck when it is coming back from being banished. Let's see where she goes next with this. It's going to be another Link summon for Splash Mage.
Yeah. Getting either another attribute for their access code in water.
One thing I don't see the access code linked off very often. Normally you're just using it to attack, but in this case, when you can't attack with it, well, you can attack, but it won't do any damage, so you don't need that massive attack stat it has. You might as well just link it off at some point for some more monsters.
Ooh, and this is huge actually, because we can also cut, Ruben off some synchros, at least until that field spell is off, and this is huge. Usually you're able to obviously return them to the extra deck, but not gonna be quite the case here.
You think Yuna has a plan maybe to banish the field spell somehow? Because that's the tool for for
You think
recycling.
She's banishing the Dormouse here is definitely indicating that she's going to go into Heart's Cryptor here at some point and need a Malice name to be able to return. But yeah, clean up the field and have as much interaction as possible. Maybe like a Heart's Cryptor plus a Firewall Dragon or something like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That Heart's Cryptor maybe has got its heart set on banishing a field spell.
Do you think it might have made a difference at all whether, you know, Ruben just activated the Synchros just to return them as cost, to use them next turn and prevent them from being banished?
It is tough when you lose them because typically a lot of players only use one copy of each.
Yeah.
That could have been a key way, but I think Ruben isn't conceding here because he's clearly playing against some interesting
field,
yeah, so he wants to get some more information out of the game potentially.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, why would you? But I'm surprised. I mean, YUNA, as mentioned, completely destroyed the competition at the playoffs, but I mean, she has not been obviously at a tournament like this, but she's looking like the world champion right now. Look at the confidence. I mean, also
she drew a world champion hand, that's for sure.
For sure. But like, she's playing also at very fast speed and, you know, looking confident, smiling, of course, but it's great to see, you know.
Yeah, worth noting, Marcel, you can't actually use cards in response to access code talk.
Yeah.
Use them quite early.
Yeah, you could use it early, I mean, because at the same time, I feel like depending on how many monsters you will banish from the graveyard, you can cut it off some, you know, combo disruption.
Ooh! It is an interaction. The patient interaction was Nibiru, the primal being, this whole time. Ruben has just been waiting and waiting for the opportune moment.
Yeah.
Because you got to make sure all those Malice effects have been used as much as possible. And wow, and the Splash Mage is also already gone since YUNA used it to get another attribute for access code Talker. So there's not going to be any access to something like Link Spider into a Splash Mage afterwards to still go into things. But at the same time, being able to access the Malice March Hare with the White Binder in the graveyard will still be advantageous to her because she'll be able to get back the White Binder, potentially summon a White Rabbit, and still have. Well, no, I guess the MTP07 is going to be in the graveyard, so that is a huge Nibiru. He's still going to need a top deck off the top here to be back in this game. But
you mentioned before the token, the Sky Striker token, has just been sat there very patiently, can't be tributed. So we're going to have a Sky Striker token, we're going to have a Nib token, and this White Binder that's just been banished is going to come back after Nibiru's resolve. So we're still going to have 3 monsters after this Nibiru. So
that Hornet Drones it's Hornet Drones token, right? It's just been kind of waiting there patiently. I almost forgot about it. It kind of blended in like you were talking about before the duel.
Yeah, we need red tokens for that side of the field and blue ones for the other. But yeah, I mean, Nib's such a powerful card, but Malice a deck that gives you so many monsters that maybe it just doesn't, in this case, doesn't matter.
Yeah, Nibiru is also a card that typically you wouldn't expect in the Yami deck, because if you use it while going second, then it shuts down some of your, you know, starters like the Sky Striker cards or you know, Obedient School. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting inclusion by Ruben.
Interesting. I thought, okay, so going to grab the GWC from the deck.
Nibiru is well one of those cards I feel like it gets sometimes against stronger players, they'll be better at playing around the Nibiru. So maybe at the World Championships, there'll be players who just consistently know exactly what to do. Like we see Yuna here. It was just like, okay, I've still got 3 monsters. Well, the only card you were talking about, Billy, was that Heart's Cryptor, and that's still going to hit the field. The field spell's gone.
Because of that token, the Sky Striker, the Hornet Drones token gave her that extra monster she needed. She didn't need to go in anything like Smash. It's just incredible. You can see all well calculated here. Hopefully, Yuna still remembers that she can't attack directly or do any damage, so doesn't try to go for game here. But the plays have not stopped. Wizard Agnister is going to special summon and bring back the Chessy Cat.
Yeah, what is even left in the extra deck to go through at this point? He's used all of the Malice Link 3s. I mean, it feels like with Malice, once you get to 1 Link 3, you're always in such a strong position, but going through all 3 is crazy. Oh, are we going to see the Allied Code Talker here?
Oh, yeah, it's in there. Aniteckzetto.
Oh, Ruben is going to surrender. You see him grabbing the white flag.
Yeah.
He's seen enough. He knows there's no card in his deck he can draw. Doesn't want to waste any more time. And Yuna, despite getting the Nibiru at a late point in the combo, cool, calm, collected. And, you know, I told you, it's just about the preparation. When it meets opportunity, it equals results.
Yeah, what an amazing show, and game 1 goes to Yuna, going second against going first. That doesn't work against this approach.
All right, game number 2. We're going to jump right into it. Players are going to be playing quickly.
Yeah, maybe Thrust is a card that YUNA might be using, because, as you say, the Dark Rule are quite uncommon, but I think it's quite common to include a few like kind of versatile targets if you run a card like Triple Tactics Thrust. So maybe that's the plan there. Maybe it was just one. Maybe there's just one Dark Ruler, and
I do wonder. I mean, even though he had the Nibiru there, there might have been some thought to just concede just a little bit quicker in that game. Because I mean, the clock is something you have to pay attention to now. It's not just by happenstance. Like, you have to know that you need more time to keep playing. So that might be something that comes back to bite Ruben if he doesn't able to take this game down. But you need to play quickly with the new time rules at the World Championship.
Yeah, but at the same time, this field-breaking approach doesn't line up that well. Because I mean, if you're not going to interrupt your opponent, these combos take a while, you know, even if you're fast, some minutes are gonna be, you know, spent on that. And let's see whether that will be the case, as Ruben most likely is gonna try to repeat his opener.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, Marcello, because that went as well as it could for YUNA almost. You know, she used you know, 2 cards basically to shut off all of Ruben's interactions, and the game still took a full 20 minutes, right? So obviously we have 50 minutes now rather than 45. And we have 30 minutes on the clock. So even like a complete ideal scenario, very like dominant game 1 for YUNA, and it's still 20 minutes. So if you play 3 games that long, you're going to run out.
Yeah, hopefully, the clock is going down, and I think the players are being pulled away from the judges, so hopefully they give them some time back on the clock. They can always extend the round and add some 3 minutes on the extension, so hopefully they're keeping that in mind while they're holding the players from starting this game, because this is, just time running on the clock. They should be allowed to start playing right now. But, you know, that is probably, you know, they're being told to pause by the judges, and I do hope they return the time to them onto their clock afterwards. And if someone can communicate that to the judges, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so players just giving each other the stare down in the moments.
I mean, beyond asking the players like what things like, we just want to make sure that they are given back this time that they're being held up for too, because it has already been like 2 minutes since they have been ready, and they need to have that clock that time added at the end of the round. So there's a chance, even though the timer is going down, there will be more time played after the clock, because time extensions are still something that will happen. Yeah, it looks like we did pause the clock, but we have at least 3 minutes that need to be added on to the end of this round. Yep, there we go. We're getting the time back right now.
Time back, and that means that our duelists will soon enough pick up their cards. Obviously, still only the first of the remaining rounds, but you can see Ruben is completely locked in. He definitely doesn't want to lose this one out easily, and let's see. I think they can start. There goes the end shake, and let's take a look at this end. I see a nice starter from Ruben. Let's see what he wants to go for.
Did Ruben let YUNA go first? Okay, no, you missed.
No, and there comes the best normal summon of the deck in the Capsi.
Yep, Yummy Capsi.
The Yummy deck is just one of those decks that's the most fabulously consistent of almost any Yu-Gi-Oh deck I've ever seen, because any of the level 1s almost end you on the same field. And then you have 2 extra power spells, right? You have the Obedience School, and then you have the Hornet Drones and 3 copies. It's so consistent. It must be some players' absolute dream to play with.
Mine. I really like the deck, but I mean, here I'm also interested in the sequence that Ruben is gonna go for. Most likely in-house, can assume that there is no interruptions in YUNA's end.
It's gonna be Cupsy Way.
Yep.
That's a good guess. I mean, you can tell by him searching. You can't tell by the picture.
Fair enough. We're probably going to get the other name, so the Lollipop and Cookie. Then discarding something from the end. What is it going to be?
Yeah, I wonder if we see maybe a slightly different line from Ruben this game, because last time he played very carefully around potential interruptions from YUNA, but when you see cards like Dark Ruler, maybe you think, I'm going to play a bit more greedy. You know, sometimes you have to give up something to do that efficient play around hand traps. So maybe when you see your opponent maybe not running so many hand traps, you can be a little more greedy.
Absolutely. And for now, we are just gonna special summon and then actually use the Capsy Way to get into the Link 1. I'm assuming just to go into a Lollipop and bring back 2. Lollipop Way. Yep. Seems like that's gonna be the case.
Yep.
So we bring back 2 more from the graveyard, again uninterrupted by YUNA. It's gonna be an interesting choice whether he has another extender, because In that case, you usually keep the Lollipop to special summon it, because I think you do need the extra body, but let's see. Because obviously these monsters have their effects negated.
And here comes yet another Snatchy. Got to keep summoning Snatchies because you don't have many other tuners. So this is quite a light end field here.
That's an interesting decision. Not going for the Herald turn 1 against a deck that you have seen, you know, play
Forbidden Droplet
options, but let's see. Interesting decision by Ruben. Yeah, it's a pass. So definitely a weaker opener as the one in the previous game, but maybe it's gonna work out. The first question is, are we gonna see that Dark Ruler right away again?
Well, this is maybe a good sign for Ruben because cards like Dark Ruler are fantastic if your opponents put their whole hand onto the field, which is basically what happened in the last game. But this time, Ruben's still holding on to 4 cards in hand, so...
Not quite.
Yeah.
And this will be an interesting one. I mean, showcasing just what the Yami deck can do. Is there gonna be a Ghost Spell, some interruption here from YUNA? Oh, there is the Artifact Lancia.
Prepared for Malice. Artifact Lancia we're talking about was not only just the most popular side deck card in the past, it was the most played card at many of the events previously, and it's still in the side deck here for Ruben. And any of the Yummy Way Synchro monsters, anytime an opponent activates a card effect, they can return themselves back to the extra deck and summon back 2 Yummy monsters from the graveyard, and that's what we see here.
That's amazing, but we do see that Thrust from YUNA. But you need to play through the Lancia. It's not gonna be an easy turn here. And we do see Ash Blossom on the Thrust. Might be a quick one from Ruben. What an opener.
Yep, Lancia, Ash Blossom, plus some decent Yummy monsters here. Is that a normal summon, a March Hare?
Yeah.
Not what you want as a Malice player, but you also don't want to see Artifact Lancia usually. Let's see if this prompts any sort of response from Ruben. It looks like it does. He's going to activate the effect of Yummy Snatchy, pay 100 life points to Synchro Summon.
Yeah, and although the Snatchy on field was, negated, the Snatchy doesn't force you to Synchro, summon with itself. So you can just use that one, and that works out. And we do see double Droplet again in the end from YUNA, but... I mean, that doesn't really do all that much.
But since YUNA sent a spell, Ruben is able to chain the Yummy effect, so it's going to still put the March Hare face down and bring back 2 monsters.
That's devastating.
Yeah, it hasn't quite gone as happily as it did in the last round for YUNA, and I think the key difference obviously is the Artifact Lancia. Ruben has been playing the Malice deck a lot, I've noticed, at previous events. So
he made the top cut at YCS this year with Malice. Yep.
It makes a lot of sense for him to have respect for the deck by including those Lancias in the graveyard.
It sounds like YUNA might be looking to concede.
Yeah, that's about it. Reveals is it Wizard maybe, but I mean, anyways, Ruben with the comeback obviously doesn't want to give it easy to YUNA, wants to show everyone why he is the world champion at the moment, and let's jump back into action.
As you mentioned, losing round 1 doesn't mean you're out. You can definitely still win the other rounds, but you really it feels a lot better to win round 1 than lose in terms of like the mentality going on.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. It's often when people say, about Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like, you plan to win, you plan to have fun. Well, I'm like, well, winning is a lot more fun than than losing. So a bit of both. But
and in the meantime, I can also inform you guys that we had a backup future match, which was the one between Sebastian Samam and Akihiro Kato, and the winner of that match has been Sebastian, who has already concluded the backup future. So unfortunately, we are not gonna go back to that after this match. For now, let's focus on the one and finally with a chance of going first for YUNA, who has been going second all match long.
Yeah, I mean, no matter here, right, we're going to have, even with no backup feature match, we've already seen plenty of action and there's plenty more to come. Are we going to see a full Malice combo from YUNA? Are we going to see lots of interruptions from Ruben? Let's find out.
All right, it's time to duel.
Let's see. Such an important, and we do see the Furulia right away from Ruben.
Out of the cards you could see, like discarded immediately from the opening hand, I think Perulia is something you're fine with.
Yeah, and especially if you open Dishonored drones once more. I mean, it's at 1, but has been hard drawn twice by YUNA already in this match.
Yeah, Purley got a little bit better against the Malice strategy since Alliance Insight with the inclusion, you know, backup Aniteckzetto, Wizard Aniteckzetto, and plenty of other monsters that summon from your hand, so it could be beneficial. But starting with Hornet Drones is going to be a way to get monsters on the field, at minimum an SP Little Knight for disruption, depending on how many cards Yuna is trying to not give Ruben. But it will be a normal summon of Malice Dormouse.
The one-off.
Yeah, it's hard not to normal summon that one from your hand.
Yeah, and it's going to resolve no permanence, no Veiler, no response from Ruben, and what an opener.
Yeah, no Lancia in particular. It's got to be so happy for Yuna to see, because once you resolve this Dormouse now, you're then going to resolve another summon, and you're going to get to a Link 3 before Ruben has a chance to activate an Nibiru or something. Oh, no. No, you can't, yeah.
No, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no,
I was counting wrong because the token was 2 summons.
So that's gonna work out, but again, we are gonna see that double token hit the field. Because again, the Hornet Drones is still there, so at the end of this, YUNA is still gonna have 2 tokens, the one from Nibiru and the one from Hornet Drones.
That's one of those like unexpected things you really don't think about, is the Hornet Drones being so good against Nibiru and just providing more monsters on the field. So it's a lot easier to access something like a Heart's Cryptor potentially, or just immediately a Link 2 with the Nibiru token into Haggard Lizard Dose. The Malice White Rabbit hasn't been banished just yet.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is amazing to see all of the ways that Yuna can just get straight through
Dormouse.
A Nibiru here. And I guess this is probably why she's chosen to include these Skystrike cards, because it's not something that we've seen very much in Malice, but maybe she said, okay, I've got one less Dormouse, I need to come up with some extra ways to help me extend, and these Sky Striker cards are doing perfectly for her.
And you can tell that she knows how good it is to be like that anti-Nibiru technology, because she just leaves that token out there the entire time.
Both duelists have used the strategy, Ruben in game 1 and now YUNA. And I mean, technically they're both tokens, but they do have names, so you can use the Lizard Dose because they have different names. So, yeah.
They do have names indeed. And now the Red Ransom is going to add Malice Underground. It looked like Ruben may have thought there for a second, but didn't activate anything. And Tom, you mentioned that Purlia maybe not the most impactful here. So far, she's been able to navigate the turn pretty well with only giving 1 draw.
Yeah, just 1 draw. You'd much rather have either of the other 2 Molchamis, Furlos or Meows.
Oh, for sure.
Can't imagine Meow's going to be super popular this weekend, but you never know. I thought Ruben was kind of looking at an Ash Blossom in his hand, so maybe he's kind of thinking about what is the best time to activate it and deciding not quite yet.
He could be trying to save it for, either maybe like the MTP 07 on his own turn to stop the interruption there from the banish potentially, if he does have the Ash Blossom in hand. But I also thought I saw one as well.
I think I saw a bell maybe as well, a proper fistful of hand traps from Ruben, and we're going to see a masterclass on when is the best time to use them and how is the best way to mitigate them.
Indeed. And now YUNA not stopping anytime soon. Nibiru has already been used, so that makes things easier from that point of view. And yeah.
And this is all because of the Hornet Drones token. Otherwise, she would have needed another way to extend onto the field with like a Link Spider or something. But really showing the application of the Sky Striker cards in the Malice strategy is wonderful.
Now Chessica, it's the field.
Letting Chessica resolve feels so tough when you're playing against Malice, because you know they're just going to refresh their hand. They're going to get more stuff to do. And as well, often I hear people say when you're resolving Chessica in games 2 and 3, or when you're going first and you've sided in some really powerful cards to draw, you're not going to draw a Droplet. You're going to draw something like a Solemn Judgment. You're going to draw a Dimensional Barrier. Any of these cards off the top of the deck could be devastating right now. And
even that Thrust would perfectly work here. So, I mean, let's see.
Yeah, can you imagine a Thrust as well? Once you've played a Nibiru, just any card that Yuna wants will come to the hand.
I love the back and forth here. Oh, smile after a couple draws. I wonder what it is.
Is that the...
Either like 2 of the cards she's already got, or 2 of the most powerful cards in the deck. There's no
really
in between.
Could go either way. Yeah, they're either the worst cards or the best cards. Yeah. I tend to smile like that when they're usually the worst cards, that's for sure.
Same. Same.
Cyber's Wicked is going to come down next.
I actually don't think that has been the case, I can tell you that much. Oh, and we are actually going to play into this Purlia a bit more.
Another draw here for Ruben with the backup Aniteckzetto. And now we'll be able to trigger the Cyber's Wicked, and Chainlink 2 will be backup Aniteckzetto to add.
And unfortunately, I think Ruben has picked up another Molcharmi, but with that Nibiru on field now, not really able to use the second one in the turn.
Yeah, maybe he's sort of rethinking what happened there, because you don't really want to use Nibiru when your opponent just keeps on playing without showing you any. You feel like you should at least have like extracted another card from your opponent when you use Nibiru, but it didn't. But then again, once your opponent gets to a Link 3, the Nibiru feels like it loses its value, so maybe he just had to do it then.
I guess by reading the Lizard dose, he just realized, that's what's going to happen afterwards. Maybe just took for granted that the Nibiru was going to clear everything, and no, YUNA already had a way to push through. And
I think we have a pause here. I saw Ruben pointing at his headsets. There might be like a technical issue that they may need to resolve here really quickly. Maybe like a cord came unplugged or something, but you definitely want to be able to hear what your opponent is saying in your headsets there. But yeah, this has been incredible. Going back to that Nibiru and somebody on the field, normally when you see your opponent having a bunch of monsters on the field, it's been 5 summons. If I Nibiru, they're going to be left with just that one token. Even though we just saw it in like the previous game, it is not out of the realm to have an oversight thinking that this token is going to stay there on the field because of the Hornet drones not being able to be tributed. Because that is very like a unique interaction that doesn't come up too often.
I agree. On the other hand, like Ruben played the same sequence on his own turn in game 1, so he's perfectly aware of that interaction. And I mean, I would be surprised if he didn't take it at all into consideration. But I mean, maybe you're most likely used to seeing that in Yummy, and that's fair enough. I mean, the Sky Striker cards are not that popular in Malice, I'd say. So
yeah, that's very true.
I guess it's also the question of like, what can you do with 2 tokens? A lot of Link monsters nowadays, they need effect monsters or something, some kind of defining feature, which maybe the tokens don't have, but not the case with the Lizardos. So I guess you don't know exactly what's in the Malice player's extra deck anymore. I feel like maybe a year ago the deck was pretty set, but then as more cards come out, you start to say, oh, I need this Splash Mage, I need this Allied Code Talker, I need this Topologic Bomber Dragon, and maybe the Lizardos was one of the cards that like fell out of popularity, especially with YUNA as well, including a Sky Striker card. So he might not have expected the Lizardos to be in the extra deck.
Okay, so it looks like there was a button bumped to like mute one of the microphones, but
fair enough.
Figured out, so the duel can resume. So we're jumping back into it.
But yeah, Malice is one of those decks who usually plays 15 different extra deck cards. That is the case for YUNA today as well. And now we are just gonna keep on adding cards back with this March Air. Just an additional disruption possibly during the next turn for the European player. But we are gonna link off everything into... Okay, no. Upgrade.
Yeah, it's a hard script. Surely we will see a white binder as well before the end of the turn from YUNA, one of the most powerful cards in the Malice deck.
Okay, another card from the hand is going to be summoned Wizard Agnesser, so this is going to give Ruben another draw.
Yeah, YUNA not that fussed, because every card you give your opponent is one more potential artifact Lancia in the hand.
Oh, and it was indeed a card drawn off the Chassis Cat, that talent. And let's take a look at the end. Oh, and it's a rough one, because that Obedience Coding is the only card you can use. But at the same time, if you leave the Nibiru there, it's an interesting choice, but I think it's also a no-brainer, yeah.
Ruben had that Ash Blossom, yeah, and he decided to hold it on the ad of the Malice and Underground. I wonder if that's something he's going to look back at and think maybe I should have stopped that Malice and Underground from really being accessible, because that got YUNA to the Chessie Cat, which got her to the Triple Tactics talent, which also got her to the Hearts Cryptor. It's hindsight's 20/20 always, but that's tough, especially when you draw a second copy of the Ash Blossom.
Yeah, that's interesting here from YUNA. I'm amazed to see that, actually, just banishing the Nibiru at this point in time, because we saw Ruben had Obedience Schooled and a couple of Molchamis in hand that were dead.
Another Fualis just being activated.
The Obedience was shuffled back anyways, but I totally agree with you that, that just kind of forces the pass. And, it is a starter, at least for Ruben, but this is kind of rough. I mean, you do have 2 interruptions to try and play around with, but, I mean...
Oh, did she send back the Obedience School?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought she was, in my head she was going to send back the Bell, but...
No, she sends back Obedience. So basically, we have Ashen Bell to try and slow YUNA, down, but that's it.
Yeah,
that's
with,
it.
With just one yummy card, it's not going to be enough to break through the field. And YUNA is taking down our reigning world champion in round number 1.
What a match, what a way to start things off.